Hey, what is up, mortals? It's Ren here with a new video for you. Welcome to part 8 of What If Izuku Had a Berserker Quirk. I just wanted to greet you guys by saying, sit back and relax. You're in for a treat. So, we begin. Izuku begins with activating his quirk and gaining the unparalleled speed and strength, and he uses his hatchet training to outmaneuver and outspeed the mech. As Nezu pilots his mech to fight Izuku, not realizing the boy's speed and strength, the mech blocks every strike from his hand axes, while Izuku keeps trying to land a hit on the mech. Beginning to feel his rage build up with frustration, as from Izuku's aggravation comes greater strength and power at the cost of self-control. Izuku gets faster and stronger, his power increasing with his rage and frustration. After 30 straight hours of combat and on the brink of apathy, Izuku drives his hands through the mech at an unstoppable, unperceivable speed, tearing Nezu from the mech and putting him down safely in one slick and fluid motion. Izuku being able to control each facet of his quirk instinctively now, after training in his mind. Good work, my boy, but I did see you lost yourself in your rage during that fight. That is not good, as if you're going to be doing hero work and you lose yourself to your rage, you could injure or kill a civilian by mistake. How do you plan to reprimand Endeavor then, Nezu? I would if I could, but the last time I tried to, he attempted to blow me up. How does Endeavor even get away with doing things like that without getting in trouble? Even when he went here, he did things like use his quirk without permission. Nezu gets a mischievous grin on his face before saying, well, my boy, that's because back then, and still now, there is no rule that says you can't use your quirk on school grounds. Even if there isn't a teacher, the only rule is you have to get permission to use your quirk when you're amongst the public. So, if you were in private like my office or the training grounds, that rule does not apply. For example, if this school was to make dorms for students, there is no law or rule either nationwide or for the school that could stop you. Izuku takes out his notebook and starts writing. That's interesting. Is there any other wisdom you'd like me to know? Well, as you still have your internship license, if any pro hero teacher at the school gives you permission to use your quirk, as long as they don't rescind it, you can go into public and train with your quirk, and as your instructor for your internship and the principal of the school, if I give you this note, he pulls out a pre-written note giving him permission to use his quirk on campus. No one on campus can stop you with using your quirk if you wish, except for me. With that note, Izuku goes back to training in the training grounds. He trains with his quirk mentally through meditation, and he trains with the parts of his quirk. The red flame in Izuku's head trains him in using his strength without hulking out. To better train Izuku in not hulking out while fighting, the red flame takes a physical form of a world heavyweight champion with a belt buckle of an upside-down ship anchor, a lightning bolt tattoo on his head, and necklaces with a big hammer hanging around his neck. Izuku could not recognize this person, but he felt that he should trust them. This person, being crimson from head to toe, then proceeded to speak. I am rage. I am strength. I am the scourge of Jotunheim, and I will train you to combat hate and anger, for it is the mightiest foe any mortal will ever face. To help in this endeavor, Izuku is made to lift special weights that get heavier the stronger he gets, without getting angry at their weight. Izuku starts off doing quite well, barely having to use his quirk as the weight steadily grows from 100 kilograms to 150 kilograms to 200 kilograms, until reaching 260, in which it actually starts getting difficult as it goes from 260 to 350 to 450, causing Izuku to more rely on his quirk for the strength until the part of the two task starts, in which Chaosin comes to Izuku's mind space and starts to attempt to irrationally anger Izuku. Hey Scourge, how's Sif's hair? Still there, no thanks to you. Hey Broccoli, how you doing? I'm doing okay, working out with these special weights, but besides, they're getting heavy. It's fine. Cute, I remember those. They're evil and dangerous. Izuku kept training in his mindscape while learning from Chaosin. In the mindscape, one day was a single second in real-world time. In training, Izuku grows stronger and calmer with time as he begins to understand his limits in mind. Training in his mind, Izuku finds the limits to his quirk and how to train it. Once done with his mindscape training, he returns to Nezu to learn more specifics on the quirk laws of Japan. In which Izuku learns from Nezu while the internships continue, he trains his mind and his quirk, and then learns the laws and loopholes from Nezu. Izuku, by the way, I want you to study for, or more accurately, train for the final exam, coming up after the internships in the school year. This type of training continues until the end of the internships, when on the last day of the internships, Nezu quizzes Izuku on what he's learned with a 555 question multiple choice test. After 6 hours, Izuku scores an 89 out of 100 on the test Nezu had him take. After that test, Nezu then has Izuku do a mock rescue where he has to save an actor holding a doll playing a mother and her child. Izuku, wanting to get good marks for his mock practical exam, runs into the falling building, feeling prepared for anything Nezu could throw at him. After Izuku is quite deep in the building, he hears Nezu half yell, "And collapse the ceiling, set the 3rd floor on fire, flood the 1st, and just for fun, live grenade!" Nezu then giggles sinisterly. Honey is a browser add-on available for Google, Opera, Firefox, and Safari. If it's a browser, it has Honey. Honey automatically saves you money when you check out on sites like Amazon, Papa John's, and Kohl's. Wherever you shop, it's a good chance that Honey can save you money. All you have to do when you're checking out these stores is to click the little orange button, and it will scan the entire internet to find discount codes for you. If there's a coupon code, they will find it. And if there's not a code, you can rest assured that you're getting the best price possible. If you install Honey right now, you can save $50 to $100 on your shopping, doing absolutely nothing. There's literally no reason not to install Honey. It takes 2 clicks, 10 million people use it, 100,000 5-star reviews. Unless you hate money, you should install Honey. A week after being tested by Nezu, the internship ends, and Class 1A meets for class the following week. As they wait, a TV in the room turns on, showing All Might's face, and says, "Hello, students. Today you'll be doing a test, so please, come to Training Ground Gamma." The class, not surprised in the slightest, as this is the 3rd test this month, go to Ground Gamma, where All Might waits for them before saying, "Today's test will be a fairly easy one for some, and well, very hard for others. First, I need you to split in groups of 5 before the test starts." They split into groups. Group 1 is Izuku Midoriya with Katsuki Bakugo, Momoya Yorozu, Ejiro Kirishima, and Sero Hanada. Now that you're split, your test will be to go in Training Ground Gamma and race towards a distress beacon that I have placed somewhere within. In the test, Mina Ashito slid around quickly using her acid. Hanada Sero speedily moved around in the air using his tape to slingshot himself around the grounds. Katsuki Bakugo flies through the air using his explosive quirk to propel himself through the training grounds. Shoto Todoroki uses his ice quirk to skate through the grounds to try to get through the maze. Ochaka Uraraka uses her quirk to make her clothes weightless and remove gravity from her clothing and shoes. Then she runs as fast as she can through the maze of the grounds. The student of Voice, Koji Koda, calls to hawks, vultures, and raptures to fly him through the maze of the Training Ground Gamma. Suasui uses her quirk to climb and move around the maze speedily throughout the training grounds. Tenya Ida uses a quirk to turbo boost himself through the maze and through the ground gamma. Momo Yayorozu uses her quirks to create a jetpack and fly through the training maze. Yuga Aoyama, using his quirk, slams into every wall at full speed, as his quirk only propels him in reverse. Denki Kaminari, knowing how useless his quirk is in a race, runs through the maze on foot, followed by Enji Kirishima, also having a mismatched quirk for the test. Rodoko Satao eats 10 pounds of sugar and then races through the maze at an increased rate. Kyoka Jiro, not caring about the race that much, just walks as her quirk is so mismatched it's almost funny. Toru Higakure, knowing she doesn't have a chance, makes herself untraceable so they can't prove she didn't get to the beacon first. After 45 minutes, Izuku lands in front of All Might, seconds for Hanada Sero. Falling in pain, Izuku kneels, the pain being enough to remove the life from a normal human. But, with partial mastery of his quirk, Izuku is able to resist his pain and survive it. Getting up after 4 minutes, Izuku listens to All Might. After the race ends, All Might commends the group on improving their quirks much more broadly since entering UA. He asks them to prepare for the end-of-term test. Time has passed since the end of the workplace training. It is now the final week of June, and there's only 1 week left before the end-of-term test. Class 1A, everyone is talking about the end-of-term test. Denki and Mita admit that they haven't been studying much due to the many events that have taken place throughout the semester, to which Fumikage agrees. Rodoko notes that the end-of-term test will be more difficult than the midterm test. Izuku, who has the 3rd highest grade in class, encourages Denki and Mina to do their best because he wants to go to the Force Lodge with them. Tenya Ida, who has the 4th highest grade, also encourages them, while Shoto, who has the 5th highest grade, remarks that if he had just attended classes normally, then he would not have had such low grades, to which Denki and Mina ask Shoto to mind his words. Meanwhile, Momo, who has the highest grades overall, says that she can help them with studying, although she isn't confident about the exercise test. Izuku then speaks up after hearing that, saying, "Yo, Yorozu, Bakugo and I could train everyone physically, and if you and I could compare notes, we could get a plan mentally and a physical training together." After hearing this, Katsuki gets a terrifying smirk as he starts planning. "Izuku, are you sure they can handle our training? Don't you remember what it did to the pro hero who trained with us before the entrance exam?" "Really, Katsuki? You're bringing up injuries that are your fault. Sparky, don't you dare train them like we did. That training only worked due to our quirks." "Tenkun, you're no fun. To be fair, we could just have you fight the most dangerous living animals we could get a hold of, or use you as an American practice dummy and hit you with everything and anything we can get a hold of." "Embers, that sounds awesome. Awesome. Can we get Gunhead to shoot me anything and everything?" "Izuku, that is bloody brilliant." Izuku and Bakugo continue talking like that, trying to plan how they're going to train Izuku's quirk, and after that, Zuko and Momo discuss the training and studying for the end-of-term test. Getting together, the entire class plans to meet up when and where they were going to study. Throughout the final week before the end-of-term test, all of Class 1A is studying hard. Class 1A writes at the end-of-term test, which they all pass. Now, the day for the exercise test has come. Class 1A is outside with many UA teachers. Shota says that, without a doubt, they have some knowledge on the exercise test. To which Mina and Denki exclaim that it'll be fighting against robots. Suddenly, Principal Nezu crawls out of Shoto's scarf and reveals to Class 1A that they will not be having a battle simulation against the robots for their test exercise. The principal then explains that due to the recent surge of villains, this has caused the school to increase the quality of their training methods in order to increase the students' battle experience. Ozuo mentions that Izuku will be wearing his upgraded suit for the experience. Izuku's upgraded suit is a black cloth Viking's tunic that are lightweight, with large black, breathable, thin-looking bottoms with too much space on the thighs and shins, having leather strap hip coverings with 2 hatchets hanging on his hips being held by 2 shoelace loops, barely holding his twin Viking-style hatchets. Thank you all for indulging yourselves in this information thus far. I hope you enjoyed it. Now, there are a few more things that I'd like to go over before the video ends. Firstly, I'd like to thank all of our patrons: BD Flames, Ethan Davis, Terry Chills, Shifter Meals, Amza Gel, XAVBeat03, and Joshua Phelps. Secondly, I'd like to thank all of our YouTube members: Troy Acosta, Rob the King, SithLord906, CF2364, and Knuckles, Rebrew Tempest, Angel Juarez, Donald C. Stewart, Bryant Grayer, and Refeek135. Thirdly, if you're in the mood for some great storytelling, We the Celestials has you covered. We are We the Celestials, My Hero Academia, and Naruto What If channels retell the story of their namesake animes, but with a twist. Check it out if you're interested. Fourthly, on behalf of We the Celestials, I'd like to thank everyone involved in today's excellent content production. Their details can be found in the description below. Lastly, if you're interested in what we do here at We the Celestials, I'd like to extend an invitation to join the team. The only caveat is that we only accept members from 16 years and older to join their crew. You can sign up and discover whichever category fulfills your interests by joining the recruitment Discord using the link down below. We're always looking for members to join us. Well, that's it for us for today's video. So, thank you all for watching and have a wonderful day.